made of limbs, I don't need no formula. Call me Caligula. God on earth, I don't need no Jupiter. Call me Caligula. Roman flames while I feed my insula. Call me Caligula. Horse in the Senate and gold in the urinal.
Yo, what up? It's DoeNut, and you tuning in to all your Illuminati news. We got a big story for you today with these bizarre 1017 rituals going down right now. We're going to go over the forbidden history of these 1850 UFO time-traveling National Socialists. It is going to be absolutely nuts. But before we start, put a 1 in the comment if you could hear me okay. Like the video and share the video out. This is a late night, midnight stream going over aliens, rituals, all that crazy stuff. As you can see in the news right now, Polymarket shared breaking U.S. Secretary of State confirms UFOs have been observed flying over U.S. nuclear facilities. And in this book that I'm reading, which will go over some of the material in it of closer encounters, you got different closer encounters. You got closer encounters of the first kind, which is these UAPs that they're showing us all over the media. Close encounters of the fourth kind is when you're getting, abducted by these creatures like Tucker Carlson getting his back massages from these demons. But I was just recently over at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, and Senator Marco Rubio was there, and I got some video footage. I like to go to these different events and film and get some original B-roll footage. As Marco Rubio reveals UFOs are flying over restricted nuclear facilities in trailer for this new documentary. As we have all these documentaries coming out in movies and TV shows like Alien Earth and the 3-Eye Atlas invading with these Harvard studies. Now, this is all directly correlated to the biggest socialist party called the National Socialists, which didn't surrender. We heard that they surrendered, but it seems like they haven't through these different Ratlines and Operation Paperclips and whatnot, which we'll get into. It's going to be a pretty wild video. As Gucci Man is the 1017 day, just like Charlie Kirk Day is on the 14th, Gucci Man, his plug is actually an alien. A lot of people don't know that, but he's been telling us this whole time that his plug is an alien. Tucker Carlson claims demon attacked him, left him bleeding in bed, and that's because he's a Tucker. He's tucking in his private parts. He's Tucker. And these aliens need to get that artificial, they need to get the semen out of him, artificially do the hybrid breeding programs. So that's why they scratched his back. They were upset with him after he released on the mainstream news, on Fox News, his UFO videos and all that. So we get this big push of aliens and UFOs, alien Earth, but this is an old agenda with the show V. Jordan Maxwell showed us that this V symbol in the movie V goes back to the dawn of a new day, which is symbolized as the sun rising over the mountain. It's an Egyptian symbol called the Akhet. And in the movie Closer Encounters of the Fourth Kind, I believe that was a Spielberg video, that showed the Egyptian symbol of the Akhet. So these movies are telling us something. Indiana Jones, why did those socialists go to Egypt? There's a meaning to all that. And this eyeball was the hero to the show, which I did not watch. I watched the first episode of Alien Earth, which is about the AI. It's about the aliens. But this is the hero, which is the all-seeing octopus eye. It's an octopus which goes into Spectra, which goes into Odessa, which goes into some real life stuff mixed in with some fiction. And these octopuses are time traveling aliens. We're going to get into that too. This is gonna be a wild show. We going hard on this show. The eye, the horrible octopus monster, is the true hero of alien Earth. So the eyes and the octopus, this is all symbolism. The octopus alien with the all-seeing eye, his name is Oculi or something. Oculus. What's his freaking name? Oculus. His name's Oculus. Trypanphonchica Teoculus. And that is the simple eye interverbrates the simple eye, the oculus. And think about the oculus. This is all tied into the cybertropic hallucinogens through virtual reality. You'll be looking at your Twitter stream and you're going to start hallucinating in the near future through these new experiments that are coming out. They're going to put you in a secret garden and you're going to start hallucinating wearing these oculuses, which is the eyeball. The oculus is the eyeball. Very symbolic. We already know that symbolism. And the alien, the the third eye atlas. You got this Harvard alien coming to town. The damn aliens are about to arrive. That's what the news is saying. So we're going to get into the bizarre 1017 rituals as today's Eminem's birthday. Happy birthday, Eminem. It's Gucci Man Day. And the 1017 is very, very occult. There's rituals. So when the Ariana Grande tragedy happened, 1017 were injured. So the 1017 today is a huge day for rituals. And just 7 minutes ago, it was October 16th, which is the creator of the Illuminati birthday, which we'll get into. But today is 1017. We're doing the midnight stream, burning the midnight oil. And in the skies tonight, the northern lights were appearing in 15 different states. The ancients thought these were ghosts because they smell like sulfur. And they are this plasma, which could be hypothesis-wise a life form, the plasma life forms. We went over that reading Dr. Joseph Farrell's book on the demon in the Ecker. The hypothesis is certain plasma intelligent life forms, which was a great book. Highly recommend it. And we're going to be going over this book and a lot of the stuff, the Closer Encounters book. But the ancients saw this as a bad sign, that it smelled like sulfur. Sulfur is usually connected to the ghosts. And this is happening over 15 different states. Now in Sioux Falls, by Mount Rushmore, that is where the doctor lives. But they're also doing deep studies deep in the ground, digging up dark matter, looking for the dark matter in Sioux Falls. And when CERN was activated in Sioux Falls a few years ago, the entire place turned green. There was pictures all over of the entire place turning green in Sioux Falls the day they activated CERN. And CERN's looking for the dark matter. They're looking for dark matter out there. So I feel like, is CERN activated right now? It absolutely is. And they're testing new accelerators all through the year. Extended until July 2026. So are these phenomena in the sky of plasma just CERN reacting to the underworld or the upside down, as Stranger Things talks about CERN and the upside down, which their new show is coming out for Thanksgiving, which we'll get into in a little bit. But I was doing a little bit of research on the 666 CERN, investigating beneath Lake Geneva. So they're doing these new studies over the next year or so. in Geneva where they're shooting these different waves down into the lake. And they're also digging into the lake as well with some type of drill, like Elon Musk Boring Company. They probably got cities down here underneath lakes. You know what I mean? What's underneath the Silver Lakes? So I think that there's some strange stuff going on. Here's a map of CERN, and they're connected to that water in that lake. But we follow the symbolism. CERN being in Switzerland, there's the red cross, the red shield. You got to learn about these Templar symbols. They're all over the damn place. And Baruch Hashem, that there is the peace deal that went on. I know a lot of people are upset with the peace deal, especially the left. They don't want peace, so they're very upset. But the people that are running this whole operation is connected to this red shield, the red cross. And you must follow the symbolism to understand what's going on. A lot of people don't know about these Templar symbols. But we do. And here's just a little bit of weird symbolism over the last few days. Hamas, 33 P's and G. I'm not even going to say the word. You could just look at it. You got the 33 right there. And the day before in Egypt, you see this light show where they're showing the Masonic compass right in front of the pyramids. You can't see the pyramids, but the pyramids are right behind this, showing the Masonic compass a day before the 33. Very interesting. But when we're talking about these operations of UFOs, it goes all the way back to aristocrat societies that were channeling this Akasha ether energy, building these forbidden history UFO ships called the Nimza. So this goes back, this agenda of the UFOs, all the way back to the 1800s when the Donald Trump time traveler books were being released as well. So this is very, very strange. And it's connected to the National Socialists, who through the Ratlines, we all know about Operation Paperclip, Project Paperclip, where Werner von Braun came to America and Mangels went to Argentina but a lot of these socialists went over to the Middle East. A lot of people don't know about that. So there's a huge connection to the Middle East. And we go over this a lot more on Patreon. So make sure to go subscribe to Patreon to watch the new documentary that we're working on. It's going to be a documentary series, plus you get all the other content. And you get a free 7-day trial. So make sure to click that link below and go watch it. Go support the channel. I'll go to a clip of that documentary that we're working on. The Illuminati octopuses, and we'll eventually get into the Illuminati mantis. Cosmic intelligence ought not to be conceived of as human or even humanoid. On the earth itself, the octopus represents a radically different form of intelligent life with the morphological capacity, as it's a trickster and it can camouflage, just like predators camouflaging. And even the octopuses of Europa, Jupiter's moon, that's where scientists are saying aliens come from. Octopuses are aliens, and so are mushrooms coming from outer space. And Europa, Jupiter's moon, which is weird, that term Europa. Elon Musk makes his mission about Europa. But the Bermuda Triangle has these airplanes that go into different dimensions and just disappear in different ships, but so can sea creatures just like go into other portals. Unlike dolphins, whales, and parrots, scientists have suggested that octopus either came here from another planet in the form of fertilized eggs inside a meteor, or that it is from Earth in the future. There's no reason to think that a post-singularity intelligence would be any more like a human being than like an octopus, especially considering the fact that octopuses are crafty tricksters who can masterfully disguise themselves. They get bored easily, crave novelty, and are extremely curious and playful by comparison to other non-human predators. Philip Dick conceived of Valis, zebra. She is the ultimate chameleon and shapeshifter who manipulates many aspects of Close Encounters. The praying mantis type alien is one of her preferred forms, by means of which she is giving us clues about her true nature. So I'm reading the book Closer Encounters. If you're wondering where that is coming from, it is mind-blowing book. And we're going to get more into it. It's wild. But today is October 17th, and yesterday was Adolf Kennedy's birthday. This is the guy who created the Illuminati. And then tomorrow will be the big 201 day. Something to look out for. But Kennedy was the creator of the Illuminati. On May 1st, the May Day call, 5-1. He wanted to really make Freemasonry great again. That was his mission, but he was dissatisfied with the leader, Adam Weishaupt, who came up with the idea of the Illuminati, and he left disenchanted. And here's from the Illuminati comic book where we show what's going on. They recruited all the different members of the strict observance, right? And Adam was the leader, and Kennedy, the real builder of it, he's who recruited all of these different Masons into the secret society. And he left disenchanted, and then he wrote a book on it. And that's where we get that information. But today's 1017, so look out for the 1017 rituals. And tomorrow, October 18th, that's when this exercise went on called 201. And it was an exercise that happened right before the entire world changed forever. Stranger Things is coming out. You got the all-seeing eyeball here. We're going to definitely decode this show when it drops, because this goes into so much symbolism and secret societies. It made the Hellfire Club super popular. Everybody knows about the Hellfire Club now, but that's a real secret society that's even interconnected with the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. I think Abraham Lincoln, yeah. The Order of the Second Circle. So it's a very symbolic show. But these dates are important because here's an example. The same people that put on this event, which is connected to Skull and Bones, this is a 322 Skull and Bones connection. They also put on another event on July 8th when the largest outage hit Canada. Blame Canada. And that's when Cyber Polygon was supposed to take place on July 8th, but they canceled it, and then the internet went down. The Rogers network went down. Is that a coincidence? A 19-hour service outage. They always put the 19 up in there, right? South Park recently has been talking about the 6-7. The 6-7. In their new episode, which dives like super deep into numerology and the reptile, Peter Thiel. Here's another one with the 201. On the 201 day of the year in July, the blue screen of death happened with CrowdStrike, the largest outage once again on the 201 day of the year. It was a leap year. It's usually July 20th, but it was the 201 day of the year. So, I mean, we got a ton of different outages happening. YouTube was out with over 300,000 people couldn't watch DoeNut, couldn't watch YouTube. And then even the self-driving cars were hacked and they blocked traffic. I predicted that was going to happen. And there was another type of outage at an airport, which we'll go over here in a second. But in the Stranger Things show, the episode that's not out yet, that's dropping on Christmas, I believe this might be the biggest ritualistic predictive programming. It's called The Bridge. And this is being released on Christmas. And the bridge symbolism is connected to the 128 code. So a bridge collapsed on January 28th, 128. Bridge collapse in Gematria equals 128. And here's the Super Bowl for 2026. They got the San Francisco Bridge right on the cover. And it's the 128 code. February's 2, 8, and then you plus these numbers together, it's 1. So it's the 128 code there as well. And it is connected to the aliens. My prediction has been that this is going to be a big alien connection because Bad Bunny is performing. And in Hollywood, whenever you see bunnies, you'll see aliens. There's a huge connection to Bunny and aliens. Elon Musk is removing 1.7 million bots, which is good because X is just crazy with just a bunch of robots. But another thing I want to talk about is the color coding to this looks like those 3D goggles. Remember those old 3D goggles that you put on and then you'd enter a new world? This sort of looks like that. And I think they're going to be pushing the VR Oculus reality huge this year for 2026 to bring people into the metaverse, because when they're in the metaverse, you can own nothing and be happy. You'll have everything, front row tickets to see the Super Bowl, to see the UFC fights. You'll be able to be right in the front row. And they'll also be able to make you trip out because they're doing these different studies, which we'll get into, that will make you hallucinate when you're wearing these VR goggles in virtual reality. And the LSD, the psilocybin, all that is interconnected with resetting the autonomic nervous system for the new belief system of this new pantheon they're creating of these aliens. And this pantheon of aliens is coming from these aristocratic societies, which we'll get into. We got to deconstruct reality of this alien agenda. Where are these stories coming from? When you have all these people saying they're starseed Palladians, where is this coming from? It's coming from the occult. Netflix is also going to be releasing a show this month on the House of Dynamite, which is showing some sort of EMP happening, more predictive programming. We'll definitely cover this. And I thought it was interesting because it says, thank God for Catherine Bigelow. I don't know who that is, but Bigelow is connected to the whole UFO agenda as well. So YouTube was down. These are all just test runs. PayPal, the PayPal mafia, they minted $300 trillion by accident, but those are all just test runs. We saw the crypto market crash. It was like the biggest crash it's ever gone through. And then you can't get into your like Coinbase accounts and all that. These are all just test runs, testing the system. That's what's going on. And The Economist magazines just released their new issue cover, The Coming Debt Emergency. And then today, when they released this, gold just hit its all-time high. So there's this connection to these articles. You see this color coding, the Templar color coding, which is the same color coding as you see here. You got to follow the symbolism. Gold rates today, gold prices reach record high, touches almost the 128. When it hits that 128, that's when the ritual is complete, or the collapse is complete. So these ratlines, some of the places that they moved these socialists, fascists, were into Spain, Switzerland, Canada, the Middle East, and America. So this is where a lot of the alien stuff is coming from. And it goes into Argentina as well, because they went to Argentina. I think Joseph Mengele went to Argentina with the U.S. government totally knowing about it. And it was all operated through the Red Cross. So, I mean, these are occult societies. This is a big part of the hidden hand, the pulling the strings. And in Argentina, I think we covered how they're looking into the rat lines about 6 months ago, but they're actually looking for the Templar gold. So maybe there's a connection to Fort Knox being audited, the Templar gold, finding it, gold going up. Who knows? I mean, this is like the stuff that really goes on behind the scenes. And so we're just following the symbolism. I thought this was interesting. If you put all these flags together, it makes that symbol. I'm watching this new show. It's really funny. Highly recommend it. It's called The Chair Company. They only got one episode out, but it is hilarious. It's Tim Robinson, and he kind of falls on a conspiracy type theory with a chair company. And the chair company is called Tekka, which means a flaw. And there's like a flaw in the chair, which makes him look into this company because the chair collapses. I think it's a funny show, and I'm watching it now. But in the news today, they're breaking that Marco Rubio going to be in this show. This is coming out November 21st about the UFOs, where you're going to have all these different U.S. officials telling you that the UFOs are real, the UAPs. The UAP was coined by Alan Hynek. He coined that term, and Closer Encounter. So that's coming out. I'm going to go to the next clip of the Alien documentary right now. Right now. One of the first abductions with his wife in a Closer Encounter of the Fourth Kind took his semen out of him. And this is the first guy who was abducted. He was living on a very wealthy family farm, Brazilian man. They were also doing sexual experiments on him. It's a consistent narrative that the abductees are being forced to take part in a hybrid breeding program. And here's an artist who draws experiences he had, his sex with the aliens. And he draws these images of these mantises. And that's what really got me interested into reading this book, is because I've been collecting information on the mantis aliens. Because I did once have a dream of these mantis aliens. And in the book Communion, the Greys are taking people's sperm. Although they can do it, these aliens do artificial insemination so that their genes can be improved. Which makes me think of Zorro Ranch. So the Obamas are working on this film. The US government's telling us the aliens exist. Harvard's saying the aliens are coming next month or this month at the end of the month. And Hillary Clinton, right here, who's connected to all of them. Right here is her with Rockefeller, Lawrence Rockefeller, who is funding these UFO projects. So there's a connection to MK Ultra, the Rockefellers, and the Clintons. Hill was a guy who was studying the scientific research of these UFOs. And 2 years later, in 1997, Lawrence Rockefeller funded a very high-level scientific study of UFOs with prominent scientists in New York. Nazi Germany was manufactured and financed by Chase, right? JP Morgan, John Rockefeller, and Alan Dulles. And they were operating out of their offices in Manhattan, in a wealthy suburb where the Great Gatsby took place and where Nikola Tesla was a resident of. And then you got these movies like The Great Gatsby, and this guy looks like he's wearing a Masonic fez hat. Leonardo DiCaprio speaking at the United Nations. He's a big climate activist with Greta Thunberg and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he was also put in the movie Titanic. And the guy that died, Astor, he was the top prominent guy that died in the Titanic. Everyone focuses on the Federal Reserve, but what's interesting is the Tesla etheric technology that Astor was funding Tesla. And then when he died in the Titanic, Tesla didn't have the funding, which gave JP Morgan free range to really dominate the UFO stuff. Tesla had planned to develop this propulsion technology based on the same ether physics that was behind his power system was his friend John Jacob Astor. But then Astor was killed on the Titanic, April 15th, 1912. Then Morgan defunded Tesla and left him to rot, but only after having gained proprietary control over the power technology that he initially funded Tesla to develop. Tesla was friends with Swami, and who had thereby became familiar with the Sanskrit text describes vril in very much the same terms as Litan, with reference to the ancient Hindu concept of Akasha. It bears repeating that Tesla had sketched designs for what looks like a cigar-shaped UFO, and he planned to explore the etheric power with funding from John Jacob Astor, but then Astor was killed when the Titanic sank. He was by far the most prominent person who drowned in the icy waters of the Atlantic night 1912, leaving Tesla without funding and resources and with a very powerful enemy, JP Morgan and Company. Morgan and his associates had already developed this technology, or rather they had funded a Prussian airship company to develop it on American territory from 1860s. Then beginning around 1920, Morgan together with Rockefeller and Dulles, funded the Nazi Party that had been set up by an aristocratic group of German occultists, namely the Thule Society, who were devoted to the idea of mastering the power of the vril. The Nazis were funded by Morgan, Rockefeller, Dulles from out of New York, was actually a front for an occult group, aristocrats called the Thule Society. These aristocrats founded the nationalistically socialist Nazi Party and appointed Adolf as its charismatic spokesman. Vril was introduced into elite occult circles of the Anglo-Saxon world by Vril, the power of the coming race, the putative work of a fiction penned by Edward Linton, published anonymously in 1871. Linton was a British baron and a Whig. Long-standing relationship between an elite faction in the British Parliament and the Estates. He also served as Secretary of State for the British colonies. Linton's impact on literacy was so deep that he coined the phrase, "the pen is mightier than the sword." In 1862, he was offered but declined the crown of Greece. Linton describes an occulted subterranean civilization with exotic technologies powered by an energy they called vril. These people are the coming race because they eventually have plans to surface and establish themselves as the master seer of Earth. Their power source is the vril, is basically the energy of the ether. So that's a clip from the review that we're doing, documentary. Make sure to go click the link below. You can watch it. It's an hour long, free 7-day trial. It supports the channel, and we're going to go over the whole book. So That was the first 3 chapters that we covered, and we're starting on chapter 4 this week. So make sure to sign up. So we got this age of disclosure happening. This is super mainstream. Why are they telling us that aliens are here? Here's Peter Thiel in the new South Park. It was pretty funny. But that whole secret society called Spectra was 007 right here. That's what it's about. Odessa, Operation Paperclip, all that. That's what Spectra is, which is the symbol of the octopus. And the reason why is because Ian Fleming, who wrote 007, I mean, we're just showing you that connections to The Crown. 007 was the spy, the original James Bond, for the Queen, and we see the whole connection there in that clip. But Ian Fleming learned about this because he was part of the operation to move out Martin Bormann of that party. So he did disclosure through his works. And the football, they showed us these Chinese spy balloons, but they also were saying they were UFOs. So we couldn't pick which one it is. Is it a spy balloon? Is it a UFO? Remember they did that? This is the same thing they did also in the Roswell incident that I believe was 1947. And the movie Knowing with Nicolas Cage, Snake Eyes, we saw the whole weird synchronicity to Snake Eyes and Charlie Kirk. In this movie Knowing about the aliens, the kids get abducted, a close encounter of the fourth kind, and they carry these bunnies on stage into the aircraft. So these gray reptilians are robots for the Nordics, right? This religious, occult religion is connected to all these societies. So this Nordic race is controlling the gray robots as like a robot. It's pretty wild, and how it's connected to the crown. Right here's the House of Lords. It's very interesting. I mean, this book is so good. It is wild. And right here, Titanic, Astor, he dies in the Titanic, and he was funding Tesla, and Tesla was creating these flying machines with this real etheric energy. And then JP Morgan, who funded the National Socialist with people like Alan Dulles of the CIA and MK Ultra, there's this crazy connection, and it's straight connected to the United Nations as well. Remember when Gorbachev and Reagan said they'll stop the war if the aliens came? And here's the famous meeting with Bush, and Bush's grandfather, Prescott Bush, also was connected with these National Socialists, Skull and Bones 322. And then his son oversaw 9/11, right, in 2001. And then 19 years later, the lockdown. But during this historic meeting, there was a Manhattan alien abduction that they even made a Netflix show about. So a lot of strange stuff. I mean, here's the IBM Time magazine. This guy was also a National Socialist. So it's very connected to AI, the robots. I mean, it's some crazy stuff. Here's Rockefeller, who also funded the rise of the Third Realm. Here's his grave. It's a big phallic. It's the PP. And here's where JFK, Dealey Plaza, the big phallic with the 14 bricks for the 14 pieces of Osiris, and the thing missing was his PP. Here's Rockefeller. He was very angry. Not Rockefeller. JP Morgan, Chase Bank, whose symbol is the swastika. JP Morgan, he had rosacea and he was insecure about it. So he got mad when people took pictures because he didn't want them to see his rosacea. He didn't want to see his rosacea. Here's a movie called The Invincible by Werner Herzog. Fantastic film, fantastic documentary filmmaker. Highly recommend this film and also his film about the internet as well. And I mean, all of his movies are great, but those two kind of go along with this whole transhuman agenda. But this guy was summoning, doing some occult magic for the socialist out there. So it just shows the occult connections to these UFOs. Because I grew up watching the X-Files and the alien stuff. But it is going back even further to these aristocrats. Oh, here's the third kind. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And this symbol is the Occult. That's the symbol of the Denver airport as well. And Bill's birthday coming up on 10/28. His book on the lockdowns shows this ancient symbol of the sun rising over the mountain. So these aliens, when we're hearing these memes and these stories going viral, where is it coming from? There's a narrative to it. Shout out to Benno, says love and prayers from Australia. Thank you. That's very kind of you. So let me kind of rewind back a little bit. Rewind. So the Nordic aliens, the white aliens, they're controlling the grays, right? The robots. And they are time travelers. So they're time traveling aliens with this 0-point energy technology connected to the telluric ley lines that the Templars were looking for, has them controlling these UFOs. So in the story, it is the aliens, they're Nordic, so they're not aliens, they're part of our human ancestry. They're time traveling. That's how they can move their UFO ships like crazy fast and to different points, because it's time traveling. So Elon Musk saying that he is a time traveling alien, he knows something. I've shown how he has a Vril staff, and then he removes Kanye with 3.22 million subscribers when he tweeted out the Raelian cult image. There's this alien cult that's connected to these elites. It's pretty crazy. And we're deconstructing it. We're trying to figure out the secrets. Here's the UAP task force. They got the Illuminati eye right there in the middle. And we're coming up on the year of the horse. So the horses, like in the movie Nope, are very connected to the alien agenda, with Snipey the horse and the cow mutilations, and Bad Bunny, the bunny and all that. In the mainstream, Machine Gun Kelly, we showed how he's showing the Templar symbolism, and he is part alien. Interstellar objects. I mean, it's all over the place. The aliens, the fascist symbolism, it's all in our face for a reason. Even if it doesn't make sense, they're just showing us all these symbols for a reason that's way above our pay grade. I always like to point out how this lady who saw an alien on the plane, the day she saw it was on National UFO Day. I mean, it gets even crazier. I can't really get into too much of it because I've had my Vimeo removed for life. I've had my Facebook with 500,000 removed for talking about this exact topic. So I'm kind of tiptoeing the best I can. But if you click that link below, it's on Rumble. It's a free 7-day trial, and it goes more deep and it'll make more sense. If it's not making sense. So let's see. Trump gonna build this ark. I was looking for the symbolism of the ark. And one thing I found is, there's Peter Griffin. Y'all see Peter Griffin? He just chilling. That's Peter Griffin. See, I find the symbols. But the one thing I did find is the steps. There's 13 steps, 13 colonies. Interesting. What else do we got for you? We got a CEO warning of a black swan event, but she's like this total leftist. Her last name's Ford, Beth Ford. She's saying that because we're not having legal immigrants coming in, that the economy gonna collapse. Black swan event. She's connected to ExxonMobil, and she's part of BlackRock as well. She's anti-Trump. And right here, ExxonMobil, you see it's the Knights Templar. It's the double cross of Lorraine. Trump team plans IRS overhaul to enable pursuit of left-leaning groups like George Soros. Luigi Mangione, lavished with $40,000 in prison cash with tons of erotic letters a day, every day, lustful female fans, because our society likes criminals. So if you're a good guy, don't be expecting erotic letters. You need to be a bad boy, because that's what people like. Some sick psychology going on there. Walk it off. Villainous hackers. Okay, so here's the hacker thing. I predicted this was going to happen. Villainous hackers jam busy U.S. road with 50 self-driving cabs. Isn't that crazy? I swear, I said that these, because I live in a smart city, and I said that these smart cars, what they'll do eventually is they'll block off the roads so people won't be able to leave town. You can't escape because they'll block it off. And that just happened. So we're seeing socialist, fascist symbols. Here's another hack. Hackers hijack on the loudspeakers at an airport. It was a leftist attack. And you see how they're using like really crappy thumbnails, and with this like bright red. This is all psychological warfare. This is why TikTok influencers and the power elite in these occult hands use the TikTok plants, because it seems official. It seems like they're just podcasting out of their home. And it's not. It's orchestrated. And you can tell it's orchestrated because these people that come out of nowhere through TikTok and social media and Twitter, they're talking to the richest man in the world. They're going on all the mainstream news podcasts. There's a whole circle of podcasters who all podcast together, and they give you a certain worldview, their worldview that the algos want you to have with the ratio, so you feel safe in your little community of social media. but you are being socially engineered. So when we see people that can do some crazy technology but can't get the right thumbnail looking good, it's psychological. So there's a lot going on. I think this is interesting. Cyberdelics. So when people put on these VR, they'll be able to hallucinate like they're taking LSD and psilocybin, these MK Ultra type drugs for mind control. And in these studies, they're using Google's Deep Dream to put these people into a altered state, right? The altered states of taking these certain mind altering, belief changing drugs and then going into your isolation tank goes back to the Illuminati dolphins and John C. Lilly, who was communicating with these dolphins through government funding so he can communicate with the whales, and the whales will go down to Atlantis underneath the ocean to communicate with these aliens, because these aliens are coming from the ocean. All the UFOs are coming out in the ocean, the USOs. And so here's an example of how they're going to put people into the VR and then have them trip out a little bit, go a little schizo with it. So they're in their secret garden, like some Assassin's Creed secret garden, and then they're going to trip out. They're doing these studies right now. So I believe this will be the next big push for sure, with the VR and the Super Bowl coming out, whether that is the Ray-Bans, because these wearables are the future, is people wearing this and getting the biometric data from them. So in 1850, there's these Nimza airships. So, I mean, this goes back to the 1800s, this UFO agenda, and it goes back even further to the War of the Gods in the Skies. But the word Nimza is channeling a occult nameless one god with the A, the So it's all occult stuff going on. And then the Baron Trump time traveling came out in the 1800s as well. So to invoke the nameless one, the A of Nimza, they're invoking something with certain names. Yeah, so I think it's all kind of it's super sketchy. It's super sketchy. I mean, this has been a lot of fun reading this book. I highly recommend getting the book. I'm only on chapter 3, and I'm having a blast. I haven't had a blast reading a book in a long time. Oh, man. But I appreciate all y'all. Please, please, please like the video and share the video out. We got a lot coming here on the DoeNut channel in the upcoming days. Some surprise guests, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So smash that like button, share the video out, and go watch that new video, the new episode on the Patreon. Much love, and God bless you.